Thank you for joining me. I am super excited to be live. I don't know if I've ever done a live workshop, not just in 2023. So I am really excited just to kind of get the word out there, be able to serve you all and help in the process. I would probably say the first 30 minutes we'll spend just getting to kind of run through defining your purpose-driven vision for this year in work and life. So now that everyone can actually hear me, that is 101 of getting started here. As you may or may not know, I am Jena Vargas. On LinkedIn, I'm Dr. Jena Vargas. I am proud to say I did complete my doctoral program in, what was it? And the last day of February this year. So that was really exciting. I typically just go by Jena, but do like to kind of throw that out there for you. I'm based here in the Tampa Bay market. I'm really excited to be joining you all. I'm going to be doing live workshops. I've changed the schedule, so I'll be doing once a month until end of May. I am expecting baby number 4 in beginning of June. So really excited to at least be bringing content and serving you all between now and then. And then once a month, I'll also be doing Ask Dr. Jena. So you'll be able to come with questions specifically for about career and life. I'll be kind of giving some different categories and ideas of what you might want to bring to the table. But if anyone has any questions, drop them in the chat comment section, and then I'll be able to answer them as quickly as possible. So let me stop this little banner because that's going to bug me. But it's so great to be here. Quick little introduction. I'm Jena Vargas, again, based here in Tampa Bay. I'm a mom of 3. I have been a branding expert, author, executive coach, and recruiter for over 15 years. So I bring a wealth of knowledge, and I'm really excited about helping people not only focus on their career, but their full life, right? So I'm going to be launching this year. I'm excited about a podcast for 2023, all about nurturing your whole self, or the whole self. So we're going to get started here. And if you have any questions, let me know. Let me go make sure the chat is on. Thank you, Sierra and Patrick, for joining. Let me see if there was anyone else here. Sound is back. Okay, perfect, Sierra. So let me see if you all can see this, hopefully. So I made a nice little visual PowerPoint just to keep us focused in the dialogue, but absolutely this is an engaging kind of conversation versus like webinars are a little bit more just informational and kind of behind closed doors for registration. So we'll get moving here. All right. So this kind of just gives us a lay of the land of what we're going to be covering today. I appreciate you in advance for having grace on me for technical issues and errors and kind of diving right in. What we're going to go through is 1 through 6 today, easy breezy. If you want to have any questions or conversation, definitely let me know in the comments. And I'm sure my presentation skills are going to get better over time, and also the type of content that I'll be adding. So I was a little nervous. Definitely I'm open to being vulnerable and sharing with you. Definitely a bit of nervous, but also excited. And I just have a lot to share. So let's get rolling. All right, so quick little introduction again. I'm Jena Vargas, based here in Tampa Bay, mom of 3, soon to be 4. Exciting, and also wild times here in the Vargas household. I'm an author, branding expert, content creator, and career and life coach. I've worked with executives, C-suite, on to entry level across many different industries. I've been in the HR talent acquisition world for over 15 years. Over the years, I've continued to gravitate to being more creative and strategic, and a rewarding career with the evolution of my business. So excited to throw that out there. I'm passionate about helping people like you advance, pivot, or transition your career. And I have not only worked in the corporate world, but also with entrepreneurs and consultants as well. So people with areas of expertise to really help them reflect on where they are going, why, and how to get there step by step. So I really enjoy that component. Many of my clients have been able to increase their opportunities and make more money. So that could be everything from lead generation, interview, increase in interviews of standing out, to get opportunities, as well as demanding a higher salary by knowing your worth. I'm excited to be hosting monthly workshops, like I mentioned, and Q&A sessions, check out my website for more information. My goal and intention for 2023 is to serve a larger audience. So my goal is to step outside of my comfort zone, which I'd encourage you all as well, and really just be able to find to maximize your full potential and challenge yourselves in areas that you feel you're a little bit, you have some fear. So mine would be like getting back on lives and getting back on webinars and finally starting my podcast after sitting on that for 2 to 3 years. So really just challenging myself in areas that I'm like, Jena, I have my kind of my goal books and my journaling, but definitely bringing that to life. Okay. My overall goal is definitely to help you all transform your lives, whether it's on the career side and or life side. All right. We're moving and shaking. So I did mention earlier, I'm proud to say I have recently graduated back February 28th, I think it was 2022, just this last year. And I think I recently posted about it, but it's my doctoral program in HR management. My goal is to provide resources for humans. So that's why we're here today, really getting started, jumping in with both feet to help you transform your life like it has mine. So some of the areas you may be experiencing, maybe some challenging areas such as limited financial resources. How are we going to pay the bills? I want to do something that I'm passionate and excited about, but is it going to pay the bills? Am I ready to pivot or transition? And can maybe I do that while I have a full-time job, in nights and weekends or in your free time? Lack of time with family. So some people might be craving like, hey, I just want to see my kids when they get off the school bus, or I want to pick them up from school, or even just have breakfast with them in the morning or be home for dinner. So how can we reprioritize our time to really spend it with those that matter most? Okay. Challenges with career transitions, unemployment, as we know, the spike in layoffs with a lot of organizations, with reorgs and downsizing just for budget cuts, and with the unknown terrain when it comes to the economy. So just kind of being prepared. I always recommend, I talk to my children about this, like having your plan A, but then also having kind of your backup plan, I guess you should say, if you need it. Sometimes people even want to have, like, they're having challenges with, like, even we just got our 14-month-old back into childcare, but the cost of that, are we generating enough, income to be able to do that? Does it make sense for him to be here? Definitely for him to learn, play, and for his overall safety, as much as we miss having him here. It's just so important to make sure that everybody's nurtured, everyone has their schedule, and so forth. There's even people that are caregiving for aging parents. So maybe you're looking for, like, hey, I need a remote, hybrid, on-site, or more or less travel. Depending on their caregiving, they may be looking for, at different seasons of life, you might be looking for more or less flexibility and autonomy. And then spirituality that needs to be strengthened. So some people are like, hey, I really need to kind of realign, reprioritize. And that's definitely something I always keep in front of mind. And then relationships that need to be nurtured or rebuilt. So whether that's friendships, partnerships with your children, what else? Your marriage, the whole nine. Just kind of having that time to dedicate not only to work, but also to life. And then overwhelmed with responsibilities with no time for hobbies, social activities. I know for me, especially as a mom, sometimes we lose sight of what's the self-care. What are my hobbies? What do I enjoy doing? So it's not always about work and what you're passionate about, but also making time for your, like, mental well-being and so forth. And then the last one here, I put health issues or health concerns, mental health disorders, disabilities. Those can always be challenging. I know for myself with ADHD, it does take me a little extra time for, like, planning and structuring and prioritizing, because that doesn't always come. It sounds like common sense, but it doesn't. Everything always kind of seems like a top priority. So really keeping that front of mind. So those are just a few areas of, like, resources that I really want to hone in on, especially for my upcoming podcast, but, like, want to definitely nurture the whole self, not just like, hey, what are you great at? What do you want to do next? But, like, how is that going to cultivate a better overall life experience for you and your loved ones? Okay. So that's a short and sweet overview. So let's get into the what, how, and why we're here today. So really defining your purpose and vision is such an important process that I highly recommend that you take some time to think about. Without a clear direction and roadmap forward, it's difficult for us to really be able to define and examine those areas and create steps to pursue a life and a career filled with passion and reward. Okay. So individuals will want to reach their highest potential, which was something that was eating at me sometimes, like in corporate or in your everyday job. It's like, I'm doing this, it's very monotonous, but I don't know that I'm like at my full capabilities. I don't know if I'm fully valued. I don't know if I'm bringing my best self to the table, because I feel like there's so much more that I want to be doing, and kind of weave that into the process. So I highly recommend that you examine the values, the strengths, and long-term ambitions in order to find your purpose and create a distinct vision for the future. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Really having that hyper focus, you can open up a pathway of success and make more informed decisions throughout your life and career journey. So what you do. So really to find that roadmap, step one is what you do. What is that next step, right? So a lot of times I ask clients, why are you here on earth? What is your life's purpose, right? So a lot of them are really stumped right away. They're like, oh, I wasn't expecting such a deep, question. But really some examples might be, I hear from a lot of clients and candidates over the years, making a greater impact. I want to serve. I want to reach more people. I want to teach and help with transformation. And then how you do it, we're each provided with a unique career and life journey. And it's up to us to not only understand that, but articulate that to others, to really show how we're going to add value for them, right? So how do you execute that in the most effective way? Think about your accomplishments and feedback you've received over the years. What makes your experience and skills uniquely yours? What comes easy to you, but you actually are interested, and really what lights you up and gets you energized? So how do you define success in your career and life? And a lot of times people will say, it's not always financial, reward and success. It's really the outcome and transformation, how they can help take care of their families and how they can help impact others' lives. And then sometimes people will mention, financial successes and rewards, and but the trend seems to be less material. And as people get older, they realize the accolades are not as important to them. The job titles, the salary, yes, those are like cherry on top bonus items, but those are not the core of what makes their life or career successful. And a lot of us, our pride, our ego, our time and energy is really focused on what we do. So when people retire, they're almost like, oh my God, what do I do now? Who am I? Do you have a lot of like questioning about your life and self-reflection, because we've poured so much of our lives into what we do for a living and the work that we do. Okay, so let me pull up here. Let me see. And why you do it, number 3, is we each make decisions each and every day. So some decisions are going to be more important than others, such as tasks that come easier than others. So think about that personally and professionally. So like I was mentioning before, what projects or tasks really bring you energy, light you up, and which of those are really depleting your energy. So if you start by journaling or kind of writing down or having some meditation reflection time, you might start to see some common trends there. So write those down in a journal, on a paper of some sort, okay? I wanted to make sure, let me take a look here. I wanted to make sure before we continue on. Okay, yep. Here it goes. All right. All right, so next slide we're going to work on through is define your career vision. So in this section here, this is so helpful. I made a breakdown. I split up define your career vision and define your life vision, because they are intertwined, but they are uniquely different. Okay. So a lot of times I work with my clients, and it's helpful to understand what are your priorities, what are those top things that you're looking for out of a company and in the next role that you work in, right? So jot those down. That's going to be critical to start thinking, what is important to me? How can I articulate and communicate that to recruiters and hiring managers and potential clients? As far as industries, well, first with the priorities, also like any job titles, what are the salaries? What are your expectations? A lot of times people don't even think about that until we start talking about it. And even like a dream company list. I really encourage you to at least research and come up with your top 10, whether those are companies that you can work remotely, the best companies to work remotely, the best companies in tech, the best companies for working parents, the best companies for X, Y, and Z. So doing the research is so helpful. For salaries, I recommend when we talk about like role and responsibilities, if you're researching salary, the two websites I like are payscale.com and salary.com. You can make a free candidate profile. Check that out to get an idea of just overall worth in the market for your skill set and expertise or your leadership level. And then industries, you might want to narrow this down. I recommend you look at the U.S. Bureau of Statistics. It has specific to like industry. So if you're like, hey, I'm in this industry, curious what other industries might be out there that would be great for my transferable skills, definitely check that out. And then company wise, think about what size you want to work for: a startup, a small, medium, or large. In the startup world, you're going to be wearing multiple hats, lots going on, lots of challenges and excitement, little less with maybe processes and systematic. But then the medium to large with lots more employees are going to be a lot more structured and organized. You're kind of siloed in your given area. You're not going to be kind of wearing multiple hats because there are going to be experts and leaders in those given areas. And then company culture, think about what's important to you. Company culture is everything from the environment, the engagement, the feedback, the transparency. Do they believe in remote, hybrid, or is it all required on site with some travel? So what are the shared attitudes, goals, practices, and values that align with you? So you'll get a sense when you're having these conversations with potential employers, like, does this have a good vibe? Am I in the right space? Does this feel right? By understanding what you're looking for and what they have to offer, because you are interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. And then, like I said, with the job salary and job title levels, definitely check those out. The research is going to be so helpful for you and just knowing if it's going to be a good fit for kind of your work based on comp and benefits, because that's critical for a lot of people. The next section, as far as priorities, so really identifying what are your top 3 priorities in the next company and in your next role. So I give you some examples here. This is helpful just to kind of identify what the company has to offer and what you might be looking for. So check these out and kind of start to dialogue and think or jot down in your journal. And then you can check out glassdoor.com to see if these companies are offering what you're looking for. So you're being a little bit more selective versus just like applying for anything and hoping that your vision comes to life based on the work-life kind of harmony. And then in your next role, are we looking to become a people leader? Are we looking to stay as an individual contributor? What does that next role look like? What gets you energized? So some people might say, hey, I want to be more client facing or a little bit more analytical behind the scenes. Hey, I want to, continue building relationships or with internal and external stakeholders, or I want something a little bit more creative and innovative. That's what a lot of people will say. Or even strategic. Sometimes they're kind of siloed. They don't feel like they have a seat at the table. So, that might be something they're interested in as well. And if there's any questions in the process, you just let me know and I'm happy to chime in. As far as industries, like I mentioned, definitely want to kind of pull through. These are some of the top runners here. I just noticed even technology should be on the list, but typically I'd recommend 2 to 3 top industries to focus on, and then you can always spread out from there. But really understanding what is your vision forward, where do you see yourself at? So as an example, for me, financial services and insurance are going to be very regulated. I like definitely the startup world, the smaller companies. I enjoy entrepreneurship. So really figuring out through research why, kind of bringing your vision to life, why this industry might be a good fit for you, right? Entertainment and media, like that's a little more innovative and fast paced, even the agency, PR, and marketing world. So there are some different contrasts of like where you want your career and work to kind of what direction you want to go in next. All right, very good. So here, company size, like I mentioned earlier, so startups are anywhere, I would say between 200 to 500 employees. There are some pros and challenges to each. And then small companies, there's a range I give you, 500 to 1,000, mid-size 1,500 to 5,000, and then ballpark for large is like 5,500 to 20,000. So it kind of just gives you lay of the land. just to start thinking about the impact of the type of company that you want to work with. So I gave you some examples here from less structured with a startup and room for innovation, and maybe more challenges, to more structure with efficient people and processes. So just understanding your personality, what works well for you, what the trend has been in the past, so that way moving forward, that vision forward, you can definitely select something that's more aligned with your purpose and your vision for your career and for your life. All right, so here we have company culture. I had touched on this earlier, but definition of company culture is having shared attitudes, goals, practices, and values. So how things get done around the workplace. It's a sum of the formal and informal systems and behaviors, all of which create an experience for employees and customers. So it's great to think about, again, from our experiences, what types of companies are more positive, what might be a little bit more toxic, what type of leadership do you enjoy working with, as well as even, um, what is transparency from leadership, and that communication is so critical to really having a nice day-to-day experience. And also some company cultures are more collaborative. So thinking about, like, do you enjoy your vision for your work and your career? Are you imagining working more siloed, or do you like to have more collaboration across with HR, finance, IT, operations, engineering, product, like the list goes on. So just starting to think about, what does that look like? A lot of times people are so heads down in what they're doing, me, myself included, that we don't look up for the big picture. I'm very much a visionary and learning to get better with project management and like execution, but absolutely, like, in your next step, whether you feel kind of rushed into what you're going to do next or you have some time to plan, it's so important to just think about, what is that big picture vision for your life and for your career and daily work. Okay. And if there's any questions there, feel free to chime in. And then jobs, this kind of gives you an idea. I've worked with comp and leveling teams in the past to really look at job descriptions, understand how to kind of digest the information. So I always tell my clients, job descriptions have a price tag included. It's just up to you to figure out, to make sure you're applying for the right job titles that align with your years of experience and roles that you're interested and qualified for. So I kind of give you a rundown here of different job levels, job titles, job descriptions, types of roles. So you might have individual IC, individual contributor roles, or people leadership track. So kind of figuring out right now, over the next, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, where are you at now? Where do we want to be, and where are we going? So that's helpful with your vision forward. Not everybody's looking to climb the ladder. Some people are even looking to branch off and start their own business. So I uniquely work with my clients to be able to help them navigate their unique journey. And I think that's so important, because not everybody has kids, not everybody's a caregiver for the aging parents, but like, there are unique situations. Even like, I have a lot of military spouses that come to me and say, hey, I move around a lot. I've been dinged throughout my career. Like, how can I get back on track? Or how can you help me navigate so there's not as many questions why I move around city and state wise. So I think there's different levels of adversity that people are overcoming, and trying to really communicate that through their personal brand and through their conversations. How do we best just articulate as humans and communicate that is some of the biggest challenges that people are having. So definitely having those discussions is helpful. And then salary, hopefully this isn't overwhelming. I did create this a few months back, but the salary you offer is directly related to the level and value you bring to an organization. Value an organization calculates they will receive. Yeah. So I always say to my clients, what is your biggest value add? And there's a price tag to that. So the higher up that you go in a career, in an organization, you're going to get paid more, but that's not always everybody's trajectory and not everybody's journey, right? And that's not everyone's story. So for me, it was more about becoming an expert in my given area and serving people, serving the masses, and transforming as many lives as possible. So it just gives me chills even thinking about that we're live here, and thank you for joining today. But even if just one person gains value from today's conversation, I'm happy, I'm fulfilled, I feel good, and I feel like I'm right where I'm supposed to be. And I want you to feel that same way. So there's no right or wrong way. If you are, kind of creating your own path is totally Totally okay. So here I created kind of an entry level, mid, senior, leader, expert 1099. So some people want to, climb the ladder. Other people are ready to branch out and be consultants or experts and start their own business. So I love working with people to build their own service-based um, independent business. You don't need to have employees. You can always have 1099 contractors. But again, everybody's story is uniquely theirs. And I love just kind of customizing and having those conversations and really understanding, digging deep into the why. Why are we doing this? Why is this the right time? And there's usually a unique reasoning behind everybody's kind of response. All right, we're looking good. So define your life vision. So I broke this down and give you a list of ideas through each and every category. So if we're nurturing the whole self, this is what I want to dive in on podcasts, like to have podcast experts, because I feel really confident and good in the career section, and a little bit in like growth and some finances areas. But definitely I'm excited about bringing together the conversation with different experts. So definitely reach out if that's something you're interested in, kind of sharing your area of expertise. I just love having those conversations and bringing top performers and people that are like passionate about what they do. All right. So let's keep moving. So some ideas here with defining your life vision. So thinking about the importance of not just in our career, but like big picture. What is the impact in all these different areas of our lives? Work is such an important piece because we're spending so much time and energy in this given area, but it always has some sort of an impact, a lasting impact in each of these other, these is called the wheel of life. So I pulled out the 8 different areas. So some ideas might be getting better and understanding, like, what do you want your income level to be? So if you're working for a salary or hourly or as a consultant, what are you charging? What is your rate? What is your impact, right? So jotting that down in your journal is going to be helpful, okay? So generational wealth, this is something that's been on my mind, as well as reoccurring income. Like, how can I set my children or our children up for success in their lives? What can we do, you included, watching today? Like, if you do have children or a niece, a nephew, or a loved one that you want to have a legacy and build something for that next generation so that they're set up, they're still going to work hard, but they are set up for success. And I feel like my parents did really well with just more of the educational side than like financially for generational wealth. Financial freedom, definitely kind of the savings, getting out of debt, paying off student loans. Like, that's another passion point of like, how can we educate ourselves, whether it's through institution or certifications, without being upside down in debt, right? I talked about revenue streams. On average, a lot of industry experts say we should have at least 7 revenue streams. So having a full-time job could be one of those, or having a business, there could be multiple streams through a business as well. But figuring out, because plan A doesn't always go to plan, and you might be laid off or unemployed unexpectedly, like many people I see on LinkedIn, myself included, over the years as well. So how can we always plan, my dad says, for like a rainy day, right? So how can we plan to make sure if one of those streams kind of slows down, that we have other categories set up for ourselves? And then career advancement, a lot of people are not, I mean, people do lateral moves, some are doing career advancement. A lot of times my clients, specifically the minorities, are coming to me and saying, I don't know my worth. I'm not negotiating enough money. So it's so important that we understand our value and our worth, and we're asking for that, and not feeling shame or guilt for asking for a certain rate from clients or a certain salary from an organization or an hourly rate. Most times my clients salary or an hourly rate for consultants. And then let's take a look here. Career transitions, figuring out, is this decision and my work aligned with my core values, my purpose, my vision for my life, or do I need to pivot or transition out? So it's so important that we evaluate that. Definitely during the pandemic, a lot of people have had more than enough time, myself included, to kind of figure out, is my education where I want it to be, and my knowledge and expertise? Is my career where I want it to be? And I always end up craving to get back into entrepreneurship, where I can be creative and innovative and strategic. And a lot of times as an individual contributor over the years, I felt kind of pigeonholed that I wasn't maximizing my full potential. And there just wasn't enough time in the day to do it all with kids and everything to be able to have kind of like, I wanted to integrate it all into whatever I was doing full time and kind of focusing the efforts and energy. Let's see, family quality time. Yeah, family quality time would be like feeling present. So having what I've even done with family quality time is now, as of this week, I should know by now with Grayson, like baby number 3, is like I need to compartmentalize to be the best mom, wife, professional, etc. All the hats that we wear, right? I need to compartmentalize because when things start blending together and I feel overwhelmed, it's hard enough with ADHD to even stay focused on my priorities, let alone if you have a toddler running around and for safety issues and wanting to spend quality time. I'm like, this is just too overwhelming. So you might have some sort of adversity that you're experiencing. Mine is right now the toddler stage, right? And figuring out if we can kind of consolidate that time for work and life, I feel like I show up better. I have more energy. I feel more fulfilled. And it starts with me, like they say, happy wife, happy life, but like also just having time for yourself is going to make you better in these other areas. And then family adventures, definitely having stuff to look forward to is so important, and just nurturing our whole self. And that can be individual adventures. Maybe you don't have a full family of your own, but just even your extended family or your friends. It doesn't have to be blood family, right? And then growing a family. Some people have been hoping to have a family or hoping to save and find a good company to work for that offers great maternity leave, so, or parental leave, depending on your situation. And then helping with aging parents. That's so important these days. I hear a lot more people talking about just preparing for being able to work remotely or hybrid to take care of their aging parents, because there's a demand on them, maybe their own only child or something like that. Growth and development, lots of people are always, I feel like if we are stunted in our growth and development and our learning, it just makes a huge impact. Very rarely do people say, I just want to stay the same as I was yesterday. So that is so important for us to think about ways, not that you have to spend a whole lot. You can learn through LinkedIn, you can learn through YouTube, you can learn through really great resources beyond just certifications and institution kind of with those price tags. But there's so many other ways that we can just, I love reading and audibles. Like my husband and I are really big on just knowledge and intellect, and just gaining in areas of interest, kind of gaining more knowledge and sharing that with others that might be interested. And then walk with God, having more time, and really what is that life vision for you and your family to make sure that you're on the right path, and really exercising spirituality and making time and space for prayer, meditation, devotion, whatever it is that you do for your own connection. I find that I even need to make time in the mornings. I need to get up earlier before the family and just have my quiet time and my time with God and my time to prepare mentally before, because sometimes when this week alone, like I got up at 8 o'clock and I'm like off and running with the kids, and it's like your mental space is kind of not robbed, but you don't have a moment to yourself, right? Overall relationships, again, those could be relationships with friends, family, loved ones, spouse, parents, the list goes on. And a lot of times that's one of the things that people put on the back burner. And I have tried, I need to get better at like prioritizing relationships, because that's such an important piece of why we're here on earth, is to connect and build community. And I'll share how we're doing that through my company. We have on LinkedIn a group. It's a free group called Career Plus, and you can join it. And we're adding more value. Myself and my virtual assistants, Micah and Jane, are just so helpful in engaging, connecting, and really just bringing a wealth of a serving attitude, servant leadership, but also just pouring into people's lives and helping to transform their lives, to help people get from where they are to where they're looking to go. And then social life, I know my husband and I probably could use more of a social life, but when you have kids and you're in the trenches, it's like that kind of gets on the back burner. So just prioritizing time with friends, time with just yourself, time for date nights, or if you are dating, kind of scheduling that out. And then health and wellness. My husband and I are into anti-aging, health and wellness, and just prioritizing. If we don't have our health, we don't have much else, right? So just making sure that that is important, and that we're nurturing and cultivating a healthy lifestyle through nutrition, through fitness, through just moving our bodies. and getting our minds stimulated in the process. Like I know after I work out, I do feel a lot more energized, a lot more focused. Definitely helps with my ADHD for sure. All right, so measuring progress. So really defining your purpose and vision goals is a great way to track and measure performance. So creating a clear and concrete performance goals makes it easier, just like when you have KPIs at work, right? Just understanding, is what I'm doing, what is the result of that? So really generating relevant, consistent, and comparable data and results over time in ways that are easily understood and appreciated. So I gave you some examples, 3 examples here of, first and foremost, initially, we want to define our ideal self. Think about who you want to be in your career, which we can call work, and your life, right? So journal, again, pull out your journal and your pen or just a piece of paper and start to think about, journal and identify ways to describe your ideal career and lifestyle. So I do this, and I even have like this vision board, which needs updated. This we brought down a few moves ago, but just like thinking about what's important to you and where are you headed in your work and your life, right? So you can make that on Canva, canva.com. I'll put that here so you can check that out. You can make little printouts. I did a little, what is that called? A shadow box, which is fun for a visual. I want to hang it up in the office here once we get everything kind of settled to where we want to put everything. But what do you want that to look like? What results and trends did you notice from journaling? So that's kind of your outcome. So thinking about, where do we want to go? What does that vision look like based on everything that I went through so far, okay? And then gain clarity is number 2, about your real self. So kind of taking an inventory, and research reports do say that the real change happens when we notice the gap between ideal and reality, okay? It's kind of like that self-check. Where do I want to be and where am I? And what's that gap in between? Start by tracking the gap between where you are now and where you'd like to be in 12 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. There's a really good book that I got from a friend at my old job. Let me grab this. So good. And it's called Where Will You Be in 5 Years from Today? So this one comes to mind, and we have everything organized, the books on my husband's bookshelf by colors. So this is really just so good, and it's actually like an interactive book that you can fill in. And it says, what is life for? It is for you, Abraham Maslow. And it's just such a good book that you could probably find on Amazon. And it's all about kind of planning ahead for where you're looking to go in life and in work and all areas. And again, when you track that, the data outcome is, what results or trends do you notice from journaling? Let's write them down. So I think inventory is so important for self-reflection and having that quiet time. And then practice to improve. So consistently reinforce ways to consciously and subconsciously develop goals and action steps that will lead you to success. So we have to practice to improve. So I want to practice live to improve in presentation and comfortability and all of that good stuff. And even opening up opportunities where I didn't even see was available, right? So I'd encourage you to do the same, showing up, being visible, challenging yourself. Maybe it's starting a podcast. Maybe it's starting a community group. Maybe it's starting a membership or creating a digital course. These are things as an expert or as an individual that you want to share with the world that's going to be so helpful in the long run in serving others' lives and transforming your life in the process. And then regular visualization helps to improve coordination, concentration, motivation, and relaxation. And then again, as we journal and as we jot that down, starting to see where we are to where we're looking to go and what is our progress. Practice to improve. All right, we're going to start wrapping things up to have a little Q&A time. So I really appreciate everyone joining the live workshop today. So Strengths Finder is the next category here. Discover your strengths and how you can leverage them to enhance your purpose. So sometimes, in organizations, they might look at their internal talent and ways to reskill or upskill. Other organizations, depending on their leadership style, may be like, hey, let me look for an outside expert or an outside person to replace the current person, besides just looking at somebody's strengths. So a lot of times during those annual or semi-annual reviews, they might say, hey, these are things that you're not so great at. These are things that you're good at. But I think it's so important, and I've learned from experts like Kelly Merbler and others, like really leaning into your strengths and looking at Strengths Finder, doing the assessment and understanding what are your top 5 core strengths. Mine have evolved over the years. I think I've done this maybe 2 or 3 times, and over the last 5 to 10 years, it has evolved a little bit. As I have worn different hats and have, grown our family, I feel like the results have slightly changed, but really understanding the strengths of myself. And also there are different books on like leadership and management and understanding your teammates or, other contributors that you work with. I think it's so helpful to be able to really understand how do we engage and work with others and really utilize our strengths versus just worrying about how do I get better in these areas that are not as natural. Like we have God-given talents, and it's so important for us to utilize them. So I'd encourage you to check that out. StrengthsFinder 2.0. Sometimes the book on Amazon and the Audible does come with like the assessment. Otherwise, Gallup StrengthsFinder assessment, I think it used to be like $19.95. I'm not sure what it is right now. But just throwing that out there for you as well. Okay. And then next step. So like I mentioned earlier, next steps in the process, there's multiple ways to stay engaged, connected, engaged, and learn in the process. So the first and only kind of call to action I want to give to you is check out our Career Plus free LinkedIn community group. It is growing by the day. If you have any thoughts, recommendations, ways to connect with others and network, definitely let me know. I'm all ears, but really helping to nurture the DE&I group. So I give some nice visuals here, but definitely a good number of my clients that come to me are looking for ways to really articulate their value, stand out, and really just connect with others. So highly recommend you join our group. And then last but not least, thank you all for joining. I'll leave some time here. I have our contact information, but definitely reach out. Thank you for the continued support and engagement on today's workshop. Do want to leave the last 15 minutes. I'll stick around for some questions. And then just so you know, the Q&A session that I have dedicated about an hour on Wednesday, January the 25th from 2 to 3 Eastern. I will be back. So bring your questions, all the good stuff, and I'll be able to answer those for you. So let me put on the banner. I feel good. I actually thought I was going to go too fast through the workshop. Eventually, I'll have some like closed door registration for like a webinar. But for right now, I'll be doing these once a month and then have once a month live Q&A. It's called #AskDr. Jena. It's a tongue twister. Let me go back to my comments here. The LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Hopefully that goes through. But it's been so great getting to hop on, get comfortable. Thank you for having grace on my technology, the microphone. I think the computer didn't know if it's like, hey, I'm confused. Do you want to use your AirPods, the Yeti microphone, or what are we using? And that was one of my concerns. I'm like, I don't know which one, because sometimes it's hard to tell which one it's picking up on. But yeah, definitely any questions, feel free. If you're not comfortable on the comments, you can email me at hello@jenavargas.com. Definitely happy to help with coaching and consulting and all good things. And I am still working on my website, just redeveloping that. So it'll help give some clarity on how I could best kind of support you all in the process. But I'm so glad StreamYard worked well. I would highly recommend. It's very affordable. I would say like definitely if you're looking to go live, definitely looking for visibility in your given expertise, whether you're a business owner, like a consultant, expert as like a 1099 or as a small business owner, or on the flip side, you're an executive or an expert in the corporate world, or just have something to share, the good word of whatever it is that you're creating, you're doing, just sharing it. It doesn't always even have to be a PowerPoint. It can just be engaging with others, having conversation, networking. That's what we're here to do. So we have about 13 minutes. I'll just stick around. There is no rush. I've dedicated this time for you all. And it is the first time, and you don't always get, just so you know, they do say, in my audibles and books, it's like, it does take at least 6 months for you to get some momentum, right? So whether my main following in my group is on LinkedIn, but I've like sprinkled that out into Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And I would like to build upon those, but like being hyper-focused on one platform, I think it's going to help over time just by having an intentional focus. And then just kind of getting the word out there, spreading the good word of what you're working on, what you're doing, how you can serve others. And I'll be doing a poll. Jane and I are going to be doing a poll in the community group to see what kind of topics, what things we want to talk about, because I don't want it to just be whatever Jena wants to talk about. I want it to authentically be and genuinely be what the members are excited and interested in. Because I'm there to serve you, and Jane and I are there to serve you all and make sure that you're connected, make sure that you're engaged, make sure that you're learning and you feel like it's a resourceful outlet for you. So far, no additional questions, which I expected. At least people have hopped on. There are some times that you do lives and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just talking to myself here. So at least it's good to know there's at least one person that has gotten some sort of content or something that can help their lives that they can implement into their lives. If nothing else, at least I got dressed out of my workout clothes and got some hair and makeup done today. But that's good news. I did put on my Instagram, I'm like, oh my gosh. So my sister has a styling company. So this little blazer thing is so stretchy, so comfy. And I did post about it before today's live. And then the tank top I got from Amazon. But people were really also interested in these little guys for like $10 to $15 on Amazon. They're so cozy for like work from home, more so probably for the ladies. But they have them in brown or black in certain sizes. But I'm like, these are so cozy, but I'm all about bringing comfort and style and coziness and any little like insights I can give you, especially for like getting on your Zooms, whether it's with clients or for interviews and so forth. I'm still learning ways to like, I do like when some people do like a background wallpaper. We have kind of this not so flat. It's hard to do it there. But a lot of people seem to like the bookshelf split with like a very mute or kind of like a neutral gray wall. So I am looking for any like styling advice or insights when it comes to fashion and interior. FYI, since I'm here chatting alone, those are things that are on my mind. I'm trying to get there was anything else. I'm gonna put this book away while we're waiting. We have about 9 minutes that I've dedicated today. So for those of you that are looking for feedback, insight, just somebody to brainstorm with, you can reach out individually or you can respond in the chat box. The cool thing is with StreamYard, you can actually see, let me stop the, this little guy. There we go. So in the chat box, the cool thing about StreamYard, this is my very first time using StreamYard, you can pick where you're going live. So like mine's on Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, and YouTube Live. And then all my comments come very nicely. You can see what platform it's coming from and who the user is. I guess it's a user. Sometimes I'm so funny. Like my son, our son who's 14, like he knows all the tech lingo and YouTube video lingo that he's my go-to when I have questions. But yeah, StreamYard has been such a blessing. Now that I kind of know a little bit more about it, it was either this or Crowdcast. So StreamYard seems to be popular. So this is the one I went with because a lot of people that I've been following and experts, this is kind of their go-to. Even Gary Vee is really big into promoting StreamYard. So very affordable, very user-friendly. Highly recommend. I think also like for the live, just understanding visually like what catches your attention, what are different ways, like during Monday's, was it Christina? During Monday's kind of live launch when I was getting everything set up, she was like, hey, sometimes you can stagger these, which is really cute. And then you put your little knickknacks, that's what I call them, knickknacks. But just different ways to make it like visually appealing, but not overwhelming when you're on like Zoom or doing interviews or meeting with clients. So definitely open to like hearing about any work from home style and fashion or interior design setup. That'll be like a future topic that we'll run through, but I'm always looking for insights as well. So yeah, what is today? Today's still Wednesday. It is midday. I'm probably gonna grab some lunch after this. I don't know about you all, but I am getting not yet hangry, just hungry. So that's good. Let me think what else was going on. So definitely check out our list of other upcoming workshops once a month between now and end of May. Again, I'll be hopefully having some downtime for like June, July, and August. We're expecting baby number 4, which is exciting. But I wanted to add as much value as possible between now and then. So again, once a month, you'll see we're going to revamp kind of our workshop list to the top 5. So this is one of 5. In this kind of series. And then we're doing once a month, Ask Dr. Jena. So this is something I'm excited to kind of bring to you all and be able to have that as an opportunity to talk about ways that we can nurture the whole self focused on work and life. So your career and different life areas, and just kind of have the open dialogue and brainstorming and kind of navigating that together. And if I don't know, I can circle back and get back to you. But definitely, I'm excited to just help with your overall transformation, your overall improvement, your overall ways to maximize your full potential. And that's really what gets me jazzed and gets me energized when I'm working with clients, is like seeing the light bulb go off, seeing opportunity and bringing possibility to others. I ask my clients all the time, what's your purpose? What is your vision? How do you measure success in your career and life? And a lot of times I even say to myself, Jena, have you answered these questions, or has your answer even evolved over the years? It's really great to listen to and hear. And that's why I want to get back to journaling. Now that I have like some quiet space, I want to get not only the house cleaned. I know my husband's excited about probably that, but like having quiet time to even like just hear myself think and write down my ideas and really just kind of bring those creative ideas to life to help serve you all. And I definitely want to get more into not just the one-on-ones with clients, but like how to serve the masses, how to serve more people in less time. I think being more efficient and more efficient is such a big piece of this. And I love using technology to bring efficiencies, if that makes sense. And different like software as a services. So like StreamYard, Monday.com, Canva.com, Zoom.com, all of these great resources I love using as a small business. And I highly recommend like finding ways, whether you work independently or with a company, like how to create efficiencies, how to make your life easier through automation. Like that's a whole nother topic. I'm just chatting here because we have 3 minutes remaining for Q&A before we hop off. So it looks like we may not have any additional questions. This has been super exciting to be here with you all. Thank you for joining. I'll give it the last 2 to 3 minutes. And then I have got some other priorities going on that I want to focus on. But it does take some time to kind of get the momentum going, get some visibility, get people even knowing that this is out there. And again, the lives have been on my wish list for a number of years now, kind of getting back and comfortable with this. Because back at USF, I was going to school for broadcasting. And I do get nervous, just like every other human, on like creating the content and delivering it, right? When they say like 3, 2, 1, that is when I get nervous. But I have to challenge myself, like I had mentioned to you earlier, like practice to improve. Like what can we do today to improve our tomorrow? I know that sounds so cliche, but like what can we do to challenge ourselves, to overcome our fears, to face our fears, right? So that's really 2023 is what I want to do, is set myself up for creatively overcoming challenges and overcoming fears that I have. And I think that's just how we get better. We get stronger. We can teach through testimony and help others along the way as well. Because it's no fun if we just are transforming our lives, but everyone else stays the same. So the goal is, at least for me with coaching and mentoring, is seeing a transformation for clients, for companies, for others, one person at a time, eventually, and more of the masses. But right now, little by little. All right, so we have our last minute together. Any final questions? It's been great being here with you all. Last few seconds together. Great seeing you all. Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me. I'm your host, Jena Vargas, a former recruiter turned podcast producer and lover of content production and digital marketing as a way to connect and engage with other high-performing experts about ways to live our best lives through our career and life transitions. After all, we all experience adversity and we need a little bit of encouragement and inspiration to get through it.